The sun wasn't even up when the elevator doors slid open on the 32nd floor of the Vaughn penthouse. The hallway was silent, washed in a cold blue glow from the security lights. Bradley Vaughn stumbled out, the sharp scent of whiskey and a woman's floral perfume clinging to his wrinkled shirt. He didn't bother to fix the smear of lipstick on his collar. He thought he was untouchable. He thought Evelyn would still be asleep, waiting for him like she always did. But that morning, something was different. Inside the penthouse, only one lamp was on. Its soft golden light settled over Evelyn Hartman as she sat perfectly still on the edge of the marble kitchen island. Her hands rested on a stack of documents, her wedding ring placed neatly beside them. She looked calm, frighteningly calm, with a steadiness Bradley had never seen before, not in all 6 years of their marriage, not even in their worst fights. "Morning," he said, laughing under his breath. "You're up early." Evelyn didn't answer. She simply slid the papers across the counter. "Sign them." Bradley blinked, confused. "What is this?" "Divorce," she said softly. "Effective immediately." His mouth fell open in disbelief. "Evie, don't be dramatic. We talked about this. You can't take big steps while you're pregnant. You need me." But Evelyn didn't flinch. Her voice carried a quiet strength he had never bothered to hear. "I don't need a man who disappears for entire nights while I'm 6 months pregnant. And I don't need your excuses anymore." Bradley scoffed loudly, trying to regain control of the moment. "You think you can survive without me? You don't have the money, the connections." A shadow moved behind him. Bradley froze. Standing in the doorway, dressed in a tailored charcoal suit, was Adrian Cole, the billionaire developer Bradley secretly feared, the man whose name could silence entire boardrooms. Evelyn lifted her chin. "I won't be alone, Bradley." Bradley's heartbeat thundered. Adrian stepped forward, his eyes cold. "Actually, she won't ever be alone again." Evelyn stood there, unable to breathe for a moment, as Bradley stared at Adrian like he had seen a ghost crawl out of the floor. The two men had crossed paths before professional rivals, one built on discipline, the other on deception. But Bradley had never imagined Adrian Cole would walk into his home, into his marriage, into this moment he thought he controlled. Evelyn didn't stay to watch them circle each other. The weight in her chest was too heavy, pressing against her ribs until every heartbeat felt like a bruise. She picked up her bag packed the night before, when she finally accepted what she had known for months and walked past them both. The elevator doors slid closed before Bradley remembered to shout her name. The city outside was still waking up. A gray Manhattan dawn stretched across the skyline, blinking through glass towers like someone slowly lifting a veil. Evelyn stepped out onto the sidewalk, one hand instinctively covering her rounded belly. For the first time since she'd seen that lipstick stain months ago, she allowed herself to feel everything she had been swallowing: fear, disappointment, betrayal so sharp it scraped bone. A drizzle began to fall, dampening her hair as she walked toward Park Avenue. Her phone buzzed inside her coat, 3 missed calls from Bradley, then more. She silenced the phone and slid it into her pocket. She couldn't let him pull her back in. Not anymore. At the corner, her knees suddenly weakened. Morning sickness, stress, heartbreak, they collided all at once. She steadied herself against a bus stop pole, breathing through the dizziness. A couple walking their dog glanced at her with concern, but she forced a small smile and whispered, "I'm fine." She had been saying those words for years. Never once had they been true. She made it to the small cafe she used to visit before work, a quiet place with warm lights and old wooden chairs. The barista recognized her instantly. "Rough morning?" he asked gently. Evelyn nodded, her lips trembling before she caught herself. "Something like that?" He handed her a chamomile tea without charging her. "On the house today," end quote. She whispered a thank you and slipped into a back corner, sinking into the seat like her bones had turned to water. Tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them away. Crying felt dangerous, like if she started, she wouldn't be able to stop. Her mind replayed the past months, Bradley's sudden late-night meetings, the scent of foreign perfume on his suits, the coldness in his voice when she asked if something was wrong. He always had an excuse. He always made her doubt herself. He always knew exactly where to strike to make her feel small. And she had believed him. She had believed every carefully crafted lie until last night, when she finally gathered the courage to check the bank accounts he told her she didn't need access to. Empty. Every shared asset drained or transferred. He hadn't just betrayed her heart. He had been preparing to abandon her and their child completely. The truth settled over her like freezing rain. She wasn't just dealing with infidelity. She was dealing with a man who wanted to erase her. She wrapped her hands around the warm cup, grounding herself as the baby kicked, gentle, almost encouraging. "I'll protect you," she whispered. "I don't know how yet, but I will." At that moment, her phone buzzed again, not Bradley this time. A message from an unknown number. Evelyn frowned and opened it. It contained only 6 words. "Don't go home. He's not done." And to stun, the message on Evelyn's phone burned into her mind as she left the cafe. "Don't go home. He's not done." 6 words from an unknown number, but the way her stomach tightened told her it wasn't a prank. Bradley always had another angle, another scheme, another shadow waiting behind a door. The morning traffic roared down Park Avenue, yellow cabs rushing past as Evelyn made her way toward her office building. The cold wind whipped through her coat, stinging her cheeks, but she welcomed it. It kept her alert, focused. It kept her from sinking under the weight of everything crashing around her. Her company, Hartman Interiors, was housed inside a sleek glass tower near Lexington, a place she once felt proud walking into. Today, the lobby felt foreign, too bright, too exposed. People whispered when she passed. A few avoided eye contact. Evelyn sensed the shift instantly. Years of reading rooms and clients had trained her well. Something had happened. At the reception desk, her assistant, Lila, stiffened the moment she appeared. "Evelyn, I didn't expect you this early. I need to check on the Parker Tower project," Evelyn said. "We're supposed to present the final concept next week." Lila swallowed hard. "About that." Before she could finish, Sean Mercer, the firm's creative director, approached with a rehearsed smile that didn't touch his eyes. "Evelyn, we need to talk," he said, motioning toward the conference room. Her pulse kicked up. She followed him inside, Lila trailing behind like she didn't want to witness what was coming. Sean closed the door and folded his arms. "We received a formal complaint this morning from Vaughn Capital, Bradley's company." Evelyn's breath hitched. "What kind of complaint?" Sean slid a printed letter across the table. "You were accused of leaking confidential design information to a competing firm, and," he hesitated, "of signing off on purchases that weren't authorized by our accounting department." Evelyn stared at the paper, words blurring. "That's impossible. I wasn't even handling the budget alone. Bradley was..." She stopped herself. Too late. Sean's gaze sharpened. "Your husband was involved?" "He managed parts of the financing because the client requested it," she said quickly. "This is a setup, Sean. Someone is framing me." Lila spoke softly. "Evelyn, the board is calling for an internal review. They want you to step away from all active projects until the investigation is done." It felt like the floor shifted beneath her. "My entire role?" she whispered. Sean nodded, not unkindly. "Take some time. You're pregnant. Stress isn't good for you or the baby." A familiar phrase. One Bradley used whenever he wanted to silence her. Evelyn steadied her voice. "Someone is trying to ruin me." Sean sighed. "Whether it's true or not, optics matter. And right now, you're all over the morning rumor mill." "Rumors? Already? How?" she demanded. Lila nervously showed her phone. There it was. A gossip page headline. "Pregnant designer under investigation after company funds disappear." A second headline underneath. "Sources say troubled marriage may be to blame." Her heart twisted. Bradley wasn't just trying to hurt her. He was destroying every part of her life at once, her career, her reputation, her stability, before the baby even arrived. "Take the day off, Evelyn," Sean said gently. "Let things settle. We'll regroup later." But Evelyn knew things weren't going to settle. Not with Bradley pulling strings behind the scenes. She left the building in a daze, the cold air hitting her like a slap. Manhattan continued roaring around her, indifferent, merciless. She felt small, invisible, like the city she once loved had turned its back. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the same unknown number. This time, it contained an address. And one chilling line. "If you want the truth, come alone." The address in the mysterious text led Evelyn to a quiet block in Tribeca, far from the noise of Midtown, far from the tower where her career was being dismantled piece by piece. She hesitated in front of the old brick building, her breath fogging in the cold air. The street was too still, too watchful. as if holding its breath with her. For a moment, she considered turning around. She was exhausted, pregnant, emotionally bruised, and the last thing she needed was another blow. But the message hadn't felt random. It felt intentional, almost protective. She stepped inside. A small security lobby greeted her, its marble floors echoing beneath her shoes. Before she could press the elevator button, a voice drifted from behind a glass door. "Evelyn." She froze. Adrian Cole stood there, hands in his coat pockets, his expression unreadable. He looked nothing like the ruthless developer portrayed in business magazines. His presence was calm, steady, the eye of a storm she hadn't realized she'd been trapped in. "You're the one who sent the messages?" Her voice trembled, more with confusion than fear. He nodded once. "I didn't want you walking back into that penthouse. Not today, not after what he set in motion." Evelyn stiffened. "How do you know what Bradley is doing?" Adrian opened the door fully. "Because I've been watching him long before you knew you were in danger." Her heart lurched. "Watching him? Why? What does any of this have to do with you?" "Come upstairs," he said quietly. "You need to see something." Devin asked. Against her instincts, but guided by a growing sense that she had no one left, she followed him into the elevator. The ride was slow, the silence thick. She caught his reflection in the steel panel, sharp jawline, tired eyes, a man carrying far more than he ever said aloud. On the top floor, Adrian led her into a private office overlooking the Hudson River. A wall of windows bathed the room in muted light, reflecting off polished wood and stacks of neatly arranged files. On the large table sat a folder with her name written on it. Evelyn's stomach dropped. "Why do you have this?" Adrian motioned for her to sit. She didn't. She couldn't. Her legs felt too weak. "I need you to listen before you panic," he began. "Bradley didn't just cheat on you. He's been moving funds, creating fake authorizations, preparing to pin everything on you once his investment scheme collapsed." She swallowed hard. I saw some missing money, but I thought maybe I misread something." "No," Adrian cut in gently. "You didn't misread anything. He's burying evidence as we speak, and by tomorrow, he plans to file a claim stating you acted without company approval." It felt like a punch to the chest. Evelyn reached instinctively for the edge of the table, steadying herself. "He wants me to look criminal. He wants you gone without a cent," Adrian said. "Divorce wasn't part of his timeline. You surprised him this morning, and now he's adjusting." Her pulse raced painfully. "Why are you helping me?" Adrian hesitated. He walked toward the window, hands clasped behind him. "Because I made a promise to someone who mattered to you. Someone you don't remember." Evelyn blinked. "What are you talking about?" He turned, emotion flickering in his usually composed gaze. "Your mother," he said softly. "Before she died, she asked me to watch over you. She knew your life would intersect with danger someday. And she was right." Evelyn froze, breath shattering inside her chest. "My mother?" she whispered. "But you never even met her." Adrian exhaled slowly. "Evelyn, I knew your mother better than you realize." For a long moment, Evelyn couldn't speak. The office felt smaller, the air heavier, as if Adrian's revelation had shifted the entire room off its axis. Her mother had died when she was 17, long before Evelyn entered the world of Manhattan architecture, long before she had ever heard the name Adrian Cole spoken in boardrooms. The idea that the two had ever crossed paths didn't make sense. "Not yet? I don't understand," she whispered. "How could you possibly know my mother?" Adrian didn't answer immediately. He simply slid the folder with her name closer to her. "There's more here than you've been told," he said quietly. "Your mother wasn't who Bradley believed she was. And you're not who he thinks you are either." Evelyn opened her mouth to question him, but the door flew open. A woman rushed in, breathing hard, eyes wide with panic. Jenna, Bradley's mistress. Her hair was messy, her coat half-buttoned, mascara staining beneath her eyes as if she'd been crying for hours. She froze when she saw Evelyn, guilt and desperation flooding her face at the same time. You have to listen to me," Jenna stammered. "You're in danger. Real danger." Evelyn stiffened, instinctively protective of her unborn child. "Why would I listen to you?" Jenna wrung her hands, trembling. "Because Bradley lied to me too. He told me you two were separated. He told me you wanted the divorce. He told me you were unstable and that I was helping him start over." Evelyn didn't blink. "And you believed him." End quote. If you another one dull raid, it doesn't matter what I believed, Jenna said, shaking her head. What matters is what he's planning now. She looked at Adrian as if begging for backup, but he stood completely still, watching her, assessing her. Evelyn's heart thudded uneasily. What is he planning? Jenna swallowed hard. He's destroying every document that proves he handled the company funds. He's saying you're the one who approved all the transfers. And this morning, after he came home and found you gone, he made a call. What call? Evelyn asked slowly. A call to someone I've never heard him speak to before, Jenna whispered. He said, Plan B is in motion. Then he told the person to make sure the files disappeared before the audit. Evelyn's pulse hammered. Plan B? Jenna nodded, tears welling. He said if you filed for divorce, you'd leave him no choice. Adrian's expression darkened. And what is no choice supposed to mean? Jenna shook her head. I don't know. But he said something else. He said you wouldn't ruin him because the world would never believe you over him. Evelyn felt the baby kick again, stronger this time, as if sensing her fear. He's dangerous, Jenna said softly, much more than you know. When he realized I saw the bank statements on his laptop last night, he grabbed me. I've never seen him look like that. He said if I spoke to anyone, he would make sure no one ever found me credible again. Adrian stepped forward, jaw tight. Did he hurt you? Jenna shook her head quickly. No, but he meant to. And if he's willing to do that to me, imagine what he's capable of doing to you. The room fell silent. Evelyn pressed a hand to her stomach, grounding herself. Everything around her was unraveling: her marriage, her job, her safety. But one thing was becoming clearer by the second. Bradley wasn't spiraling. He was executing a plan, and she had just disrupted it. She exhaled shakily. What do we do now? Jenna looked from Evelyn to Adrian, then back again. She leaned in, voice trembling. You need to see what he hid in the basement of your penthouse. Evelyn didn't remember the elevator ride back to Park Avenue. She didn't remember stepping out onto the marble sidewalk or the way the morning air stung her cheeks. All she could hear was Jenna's trembling voice. He hid something in the basement of your penthouse. The words kept looping in her head, tightening around her like invisible hands. The penthouse basement wasn't really a basement. It was a private, lower level, reserved only for the owner, soundproof, climate-controlled, accessible by keycard only. She rarely used it. Bradley kept his important work documents down there, insisting she didn't need to worry about it. Now she knew why. Inside the building, the doorman greeted her carefully, as if news had already traveled faster than she could. She offered a small nod, her throat too tight for words, and headed straight for the service elevator. Her hands trembled as she scanned her keycard. Invalid. She tried again. Invalid. A cold dread slid through her spine. When she had left the penthouse earlier, the card had still worked. Bradley must have deactivated her access the moment he regained control of the home system. But the service elevator attendant, seeing her distress, used his override key and let her in. Are you sure you want to go down there alone, Mrs. Vaughn? He asked gently. Her voice barely made it out. Yes. The doors shut with a soft thud. The descent felt endless. A part of her hoped she wouldn't find anything. Another part feared she would. She could feel the baby move beneath her hand, a reminder that she wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. When the elevator doors opened, a rush of cold air met her. The hallway lights flickered to life, illuminating the sleek concrete floors and Bradley's carefully arranged storage shelves. She walked slowly, each step echoing too loudly. Then she saw it. A metal cabinet she had never noticed before, taller, heavier, secured with a digital padlock. Her heart kicked at her ribs. Okay, she whispered aloud, as if trying to steady herself. Okay, one thing at a time. If you 2,000 to dinner. She reached for the keypad. But before she could attempt a guess, she noticed something on the ground. A sliver of paper. She knelt slowly, picking it up. A bank statement. In her name? But the account wasn't hers. It didn't even belong to her bank. And the transfers listed were massive. Hundreds of thousands of dollars moved into an investment scheme she had never heard of, all electronically signed with her forged initials. Her hands shook violently. Bradley wasn't just planning to blame her. He had already started. Evelyn staggered back, clutching the paper. She felt the walls closing in, felt the air thinning. Panic clawed up her throat, the kind she hadn't experienced since her mother's funeral years ago. She pressed a hand to her chest, forcing herself to breathe. You can't fall apart, she whispered. Not now. She turned to leave, only to hear the faint click of a door unlocking behind her. The metal cabinet door slowly swung open. Evelyn froze, pulse roaring in her ears. Inside the cabinet, neatly organized in labeled folders, were dozens of documents, contracts, transfers, signatures, all pointing to one horrifying truth. Bradley had been planning to make her the fall person for months. And tucked between the files was something worse. A photo. Her mother. Standing beside a much younger Adrian. Evelyn's throat closed. What? What is this? She whispered. Then her gaze caught something on the back of the photograph. Faded ink, handwritten. A message addressed to her. Her blood ran cold as she read it. If you're seeing this, it means he found you. Evelyn stood frozen, the dim basement lights flickering above her as if reacting to the storm inside her chest. The photograph in her hand felt heavier than metal, heavier than the truth she had been avoiding for years. Her mother, smiling softly in the picture, one arm around a much younger Adrian. The handwriting on the back, graceful, urgent, sent chills racing through her spine. If you're seeing this, it means he found you. Her breath wavered. The words were a warning, a prophecy, and a plea all at once. But who was he? Bradley? Someone else? Someone even more dangerous? The air felt colder now. Evelyn forced herself to take a step back, but her mind spun in every direction. Her mother had died in a car accident, at least that was what she had always been told. No foul play, no unanswered questions, just a tragedy. So why would her mother leave behind a message predicting danger? And why did Adrian know anything about it? Footsteps echoed above her, soft, heavy, coming down the private stairway connected to the penthouse. Evelyn's blood ran cold. No one was allowed down here, except Bradley. Her instincts screamed at her to hide, but she clutched the photograph instead, her fingers trembling. Panic rose like a tide as the footsteps grew louder. She grabbed several documents from the open cabinet and stuffed them into her coat. She couldn't let him see what she had found. The stairwell door creaked open. Evie? His voice. Calm. Too calm. She hurried behind a support pillar just as Bradley stepped into view. He scanned the basement with narrowed eyes, his jaw tightening. Something in his demeanor felt different, sharper, darker, as if the mask he wore for the world had finally slipped. I know you're down here, he said. Your keycard didn't work for a reason. Evelyn pressed a hand to her mouth, forcing herself not to breathe too loudly. Her heart pounded so hard she feared he could hear it. Bradley walked closer to the cabinet, noticing the door ajar. He paused. His eyes went cold as ice. Interesting, he murmured. He reached inside and touched the files, checking, counting, memorizing the placement with disturbing precision. He would notice the missing papers within seconds. Evelyn looked around desperately. There was another exit, an old maintenance corridor to the left, but using it would require moving fast, and her baby belly made speed difficult. Her body shook with adrenaline. Bradley turned slowly, scanning the room again, this time with suspicion sharpened into certainty. You shouldn't have come down here, Evelyn. She slipped toward the maintenance door, her steps as silent as she could manage. Her fingers closed around the cold metal handle. Bradley suddenly snapped around. Footsteps quickened. Evelyn yanked the door open and dashed inside, slamming it behind her just as Bradley's hand smacked against the other side. She locked the bolt and stumbled down the narrow corridor, gasping for air. Her baby kicked, hard and frightened. It's okay, she whispered breathlessly. Mama's here. I'm here. The corridor led to a service elevator rarely used. She slammed the emergency button and leaned against the wall, chest heaving. As the elevator ascended, she opened the photograph once more. A second line of faded writing, barely visible, began to appear under the basement's humidity, a detail she hadn't noticed before. She lifted it closer, her breath catching. It read, "Find Adrian. He knows the truth about your father." Evelyn's vision tunneled. Her father. She had never known him. Her mother had refused to speak of him. But now everything was unraveling: her marriage, her identity, her past, and someone had left her a warning 20 years ago. The elevator doors opened. Standing outside, waiting for her, was Adrian. He looked shaken. "Evelyn," he said quietly, "we need to talk. Now." She clutched the photograph, voice barely a whisper. "Tell me who my father is." Adrian's face paled. "You're not ready for that truth." Not yet. The hallway outside the service elevator felt too quiet, almost suspended in time. Evelyn stood there, trembling, clutching the photograph that had ripped open 20 years of silence. Adrian watched her with attention he could no longer hide. The man who always looked composed, unshakable in boardrooms, feared by rivals, looked almost human now, almost afraid. "You said my mother asked you to watch over me," Evelyn whispered, her voice tight. "You said she mattered to you. Now tell me who my father is." Adrian exhaled slowly, bracing a hand against the wall. "It's not that simple." "It is to me," she shot back. "My whole life, that part of my story has been a hole no one would fill. I deserve answers." He closed his eyes as if the truth itself was a blade he didn't want to touch. "Your mother and I, we were close," he said carefully. "Before she married the man who raised you, she and I worked together on a real estate project. She trusted me, and I trusted her. More than I trusted anyone. But she was carrying a secret even then, a secret about you." Evelyn felt her heart tighten. "About me?" He nodded. "Your father wasn't a good man. He had power, money, influence, but no conscience. He was involved in crimes your mother tried to expose. When she realized how dangerous he was, she ran. She took you and disappeared. En posto." Evelyn felt the air thin. Why didn't she tell me any of this? "Because she wanted you free from his shadow," Adrian said softly. "She wanted you to grow up without fear, without wondering if he was looking for you." Evelyn gripped the photograph so hard it nearly bent. "So he's alive." A muscle in Adrian's jaw twitched. "Yes. And Bradley." Her voice cracked. "Is he connected to him?" Adrian didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "The company Bradley works for Vaughn Capital received a large investment years ago from a private entity. That entity traced back to a name your mother warned me about. A man who had disappeared from public view but kept influence through proxies. Bradley doesn't know the truth, but he's a pawn in someone's game. And you're not supposed to be anywhere near that world." Her knees nearly buckled. The baby moved again, anxious beneath her ribs. "So all this time," she said, voice trembling, "I wasn't just married to a liar. I was married to someone tied to a man who hunted my mother." Adrian nodded gravely. "And she knew this day might come. That's why she left that message for you." Evelyn's breath shook. Her world wasn't just breaking, it was rearranging into a shape she didn't recognize. Betrayal from her husband, sabotage in her career, and now a past she never knew existed. "Why tell me now?" she whispered. "Why didn't you warn me earlier?" Adrian's expression softened with guilt. "Because your mother made me promise. She believed you deserved a normal life until danger found you, and today it found you." Evelyn shut her eyes, fighting tears. "What do I do now?" Adrian straightened, strength returning to his steel blue eyes. "You protect yourself. You gather everything Bradley tried to bury, and you prepare for what comes next." Evelyn swallowed hard. "And what is coming next?" Adrian hesitated. Then he said 3 words that made her blood freeze. "He's coming tonight." Evelyn had never felt fear move so quietly, so deliberately through her veins. "He's coming tonight." Adrian had said those 3 words, replaying like a pulse in her mind as they sat in the back of his private car, driving toward a safe location he refused to explain until they arrived. Her fingers stayed wrapped around the photograph of her mother. She kept touching the faded ink as if it might warm under her skin and give her answers she wasn't ready to ask. "Where are we going?" she finally whispered. "A place he doesn't know about," Adrian replied, gaze fixed on the window. "And where we can gather what you need." "What I need?" she asked softly. He turned to her then. "Leverage. Documents. Evidence he thought he hid well. Bradley planned everything, but he underestimated how many people he hurt along the way." And 20. As if on cue, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You took something from the basement." Evelyn's breath caught. Then another. "Come home. We need to talk." No name, no threats. But the simplicity was the threat. Adrian gently took the phone from her trembling hand. "Don't answer. He needs you scared, not smart." A few minutes later, the car turned into an underground garage beneath a restored warehouse in Brooklyn. Discreet, empty, lights humming above. Adrian guided her through a side door into a hidden office that didn't match the rugged industrial exterior. It was sleek, digitized, locked behind reinforced steel. Inside sat an older man with silver hair and glasses, typing at 3 monitors. He stood when he saw her. "You must be Evelyn." "I'm Rowan. Adrian said you'd be coming." She blinked. "Do you know what's happening?" Rowan nodded. "Enough to know you're in more danger than you think, and that your husband is a very stupid man for crossing the wrong people." Adrian shot him a warning look. "Rowan." "What?" Rowan said with a shrug. "She deserves the truth." Before Evelyn could ask again, Rowan tapped a key, and a digital wall of files appeared on the monitors: contracts, emails, bank transfers. All under Bradley's accounts. All forged with her name. Evelyn's heart plummeted. He really went this far? Rowan clicked open a second folder. "That's nothing. These are the documents he hid in your penthouse's basement, the ones he thought no one could access." She moved closer, her breath unsteady. There were photos of meetings she never attended, signatures she never signed, purchase orders she never approved. Everything was designed to frame her perfectly cleanly, leaving no room for doubt. Except for one document. Adrian pointed at the screen. "This," end quote. Evelyn squinted. A confidential contract between Vaughn Capital and an anonymous investor. The name was redacted, mostly, but not entirely. She recognized 3 letters. 3 letters that matched the faded name written beside her mother's warning. Her throat closed. "No," she whispered. "Your father put money into Bradley's company," Adrian said quietly. "Not because he believed in it, but because he was looking for you." The floor seemed to tilt. "My father funded Vaughn Capital?" "Yes," Adrian said. "And Bradley has no idea who he's been working under. But the moment your father realizes you've resurfaced..." He stopped. Evelyn's breath trembled. "What happens when he realizes?" Rowan answered instead, voice grim. "He'll come for you too." Evelyn staggered back, gripping the table for balance, her baby kicking in distress beneath her ribs. "How do we stop this?" she whispered. Adrian stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You expose Bradley first. You burn every lie he built." And then, he opened a locked drawer and placed a small, encrypted flash drive into her hand. "This is everything you need to destroy him. But taking this step means there's no turning back." Evelyn stared at the drive as if it might explode. Then she lifted her chin with a strength she didn't know she still had. "What do we do now?" she asked. Adrian's eyes hardened. "Now, we take Bradley down before your father finds you." As one of eyes, the Plaza Hotel glowed like a golden crown against the Manhattan night, its chandeliers spilling warm light across the marble floors as the city's wealthiest filtered into the charity gala. Laughter echoed through the grand hall. Polished glasses clinked, and the air shimmered with perfume, ambition, and secrets, far too heavy for silk gowns. Evelyn hesitated at the entrance, her hand resting over her stomach. She hadn't wanted to come, not tonight, not with everything unraveling around her, but Adrian insisted. "Bradley made this public," he'd said. "So, we end it where the public watches." Her pulse fluttered like a trapped bird. Everyone here knew Bradley Vaughn. Many admired him, some envied him. None knew the rot beneath the smile. The moment she stepped inside, heads turned. Not because she was glowing in a simple, elegant black gown Adrian's team had arranged, but because rumors about her investigation had already slipped through Manhattan's gossip channels. Whispers brushed her ears like cold fingertips. "That's her. Pregnant and under audit. Poor thing. Married to that man." She straightened her back. She wouldn't break. Not here. Adrian walked beside her, polished and calm, his presence drawing even more attention. People parted as he moved, as if Manhattan itself shifted to make space for him. He leaned closer. "Remember," he murmured, "tonight is about showing him you're not afraid." But fear was an earthquake in her chest. Across the room, laughter erupted. Bradley had arrived. He looked immaculate in a tailored tuxedo, the kind of man who commanded a room simply by existing. And on his arm was Jenna painted in gold satin, smiling too brightly, eyes flicking everywhere except at Evelyn. Jenna wasn't here as his ally. She was here because Bradley made her come. When he spotted Evelyn, he froze. Then anger flickered in his eyes, the kind that smelled of possession, of control slipping from his hands. He excused himself from the circle of donors and marched toward her, jaw tight. Adrian stepped forward instinctively, but Evelyn touched his arm lightly. "No, Let him talk, she whispered. Let everyone hear. Bradley stopped inches from her. He didn't lower his voice. You shouldn't be here. Evelyn held his gaze. Why? Because I'm not hiding? You're embarrassing yourself, he hissed. And you're embarrassing me. Adrian chuckled softly, a dangerous sound. From where I'm standing, he said, she's the only one with any dignity left. Guests nearby pretended to look away, but lingered close enough to hear. Bradley's smile tightened. This isn't your fight, Adrian. Oh, Adrian replied calmly. But it is. In 22. Evelyn felt tension crackle like electricity between them. Then, before Bradley could respond, a familiar voice joined the conversation. Bradley, darling, leave them alone, Jenna whispered shakily, tugging at his sleeve. Her eyes flickered with fear, not for Evelyn, but for herself. She knew what he was capable of. Bradley jerked his arm away. Stay out of this. But Jenna didn't move. Her lower lip trembled. I can't. Evelyn frowned. Jenna? Jenna swallowed hard, turning toward the circle of wealthy spectators gathering around them. Her voice shook, but her courage was unmistakable. I have something to say, she announced. Something everyone here deserves to know. Bradley's face drained of color. Jenna, don't. She stepped away from him. He told me to lie for him, she said, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. About the company. About Evelyn. About everything. A ripple of shock moved through the room. Bradley lunged forward, but security moved in instantly, Adrian's doing. Jenna took a breath, tears glistening. And that's not even the worst part. Evelyn's heart raced. What do you mean? Jenna looked straight at her. Bradley wasn't working alone. The room went still. The kind of stillness that doesn't belong to a gala, but to a courtroom moments before a verdict. People froze mid-sip, mid-whisper, mid-breath as Jenna's trembling confession cut through the polished elegance of the plaza like a jagged blade. He wasn't working alone, she repeated, voice breaking as she forced herself to look up. A wave of tension rolled through the crowd. Bradley's expression cracked rage flashing like lightning beneath the tuxedo and charm he polished for social events. He took a step toward Jenna, but security tightened around him. He wasn't in control anymore, and everyone knew it. Evelyn's pulse pounded in her ears. Jenna, tell them everything. Jenna nodded, swallowing hard. She lifted her chin not defiantly, but like a person finally choosing the truth after years of drowning in lies. I didn't know at first, she said. I thought Bradley just wanted out of his marriage. He said you were cruel to him, Evelyn. That you controlled him. That he loved me. Bradley barked. Stop lying. Enough. Adrian snapped, stepping between him and the women. The authority in his voice silenced even the onlookers. Let her speak. Jenna inhaled shakily. A few months ago, I overheard a call. A man was threatening Bradley, telling him he needed leverage to protect the investment. That's when Bradley started forging documents under Evelyn's name. Evelyn felt her stomach twist. Who was the man? Adrian asked, his tone low, dangerous. Jenna's eyes darted nervously around the room. I never saw his face. Bradley called him Roth. That's all I know. Evelyn stiffened. That name. 3 letters from the redacted file in the basement. 3 letters connected to her father. The truth clawed closer. Bradley lunged again, shouting, You stupid girl. Security pinned him back instantly. Jenna flinched, but she didn't run. She kept her eyes locked on Evelyn. He told me if you divorced him, Jenna whispered, he'd use the forged documents to blame you. And Roth would make sure the authorities believed it. Evelyn felt her throat tighten painfully. All along, Bradley hadn't just been saving himself. He had been following instructions. Adrian's jaw clenched. They wanted her vulnerable, alone, discredited. Jenna nodded. And once Evelyn was out of the way, the company would be completely theirs. No questions asked. If you get no, gasps rippled across the ballroom. One of Bradley's business partners turned pale. This is fraud. Federal-level fraud. Bradley snarled at him. You don't understand anything. Oh, we understand, Adrian cut in. Perfectly. Evelyn felt the eyes of the room shift toward her sympathy from some, awe from others, but she wasn't thinking about them. She was thinking about her mother's warning. He found you. Her father Roth was real. Alive? Searching. And Bradley had unknowingly partnered with him. Jenna stepped closer to Evelyn. her voice barely above a whisper now. I didn't know who Roth really was. But Bradley did mention one more thing, something about why Evelyn had to be ruined first. Evelyn turned cold. Why? Jenna glanced nervously at Adrian, then back at Evelyn. He said your father wants something you have, something only you can unlock. The ballroom erupted in murmurs, confusion swirling like fog. Evelyn stared at Jenna, heart hammering. What does that mean? Unlock what? Before Jenna could answer, a new voice echoed through the speakers, deep, authoritative, unfamiliar. Good evening, everyone. The giant screens above the ballroom flickered on. A man's silhouette appeared, face hidden, voice distorted. Adrian stiffened. No, not here. The figure leaned closer to the camera. Evelyn Hartman, he said slowly, almost calmly. I've been waiting a very long time to meet you. As about. The room froze. Evelyn's blood turned ice. Because the voice wasn't Bradley's. And it wasn't anyone in the room. It was the man her mother had run from. It was her father. Shall we begin? The voice asked. The ballroom of the plaza fell into a suffocating silence as the man's silhouette stayed frozen on every giant screen. Champagne glasses trembled in hands, conversations died mid-sentence, and even the orchestra faded into a confused stutter before falling completely still. The glow of the chandeliers no longer felt warm, they felt interrogatory, like spotlights on a stage Evelyn never agreed to walk onto. Adrian stepped slightly in front of her, shielding her without being obvious. His voice dropped into a tone she'd never heard from him, controlled, lethal. Cut the feed, he ordered. But before the tech crew could react, the voice echoed again. Adrian Cole, the silhouette murmured, you haven't changed. Still trying to protect something that was never yours. A few gasps shot through the room. Evelyn gripped the edge of a table for balance, heart pounding against her ribs. Her throat felt dry, her breath too thin. Who are you? She forced out, though a part of her already knew. The silhouette tilted its head, amused. Evelyn, my dear, you already know. You've always known. You just didn't have the courage to ask. It ate. Bradley shouted from across the floor, struggling against security. Turn that off, he said. The message wasn't supposed to. But the silhouette cut him off sharply. Bradley Vaughn, you failed me. A ripple of horror moved through the crowd. Jenna stumbled backward, hand over her mouth. Oh my God, he was telling the truth. You weren't his mastermind, you were his puppet. Bradley's face contorted with panic, not anger now, but raw fear. You don't understand, he threatened me. The silhouette ignored him completely. Evelyn, the voice continued, gentler but far more chilling. You carry something valuable. Something your mother tried very hard to hide from me. Evelyn's knees weakened. What do you want from me? A soft chuckle vibrated through the speakers. What fathers want, of course. What I should have claimed years ago. Beside her, Adrian's hands curled into fists. You're not her father. You forfeited that right the day you tried to use her mother as leverage. The silhouette leaned forward, distorted features blurring into darkness. And you, Adrian, still pretending your connection to her mother was purely professional. How noble. Evelyn's stomach twisted. Stop, both of you. What does any of this have to do with me? The voice shifted, calm and almost affectionate. You have the access codes, Evelyn. Codes your mother embedded into her estate years ago. Codes I need. If it doesn't ignore, access. To what? She whispered. The silhouette answered slowly, savoring the tension. To accounts worth hundreds of millions. The fortune your mother stole from me the night she fled. A collective gasp swallowed the room whole. Evelyn stumbled back, dizzy. The world blurred for a moment as her baby kicked sharp, frightened. My mother didn't steal anything, she whispered. She saved us. Adrian steadied her with a hand at her back. You're not getting anything from her. Intenses. The silhouette chuckled darkly. Oh, but I will. One way or another. The screens flickered violently, static, distortion, a crackle that vibrated through the chandeliers before collapsing into darkness. The lights snapped back on. And that was when everyone realized something terrifying. Security guards were rushing toward the main entrance. One shouted, "We need everyone out, now." Chaos erupted instantly. Jenna grabbed Evelyn's arm. He's here. He's not just watching, he's here. It's Master. Evelyn froze, breath lodging in her chest. Because just beyond the staircase, a A tall figure in a dark coat was stepping into the ballroom, framed by the golden glow of the chandeliers, his presence setting off alarms inside her bones. He moved with certainty, with purpose, with ownership, and his eyes were locked on her. Screams rippled through the ballroom as guests pushed toward the exits, gowns sweeping across the marble like waves. Crystal glasses toppled. Chairs scraped. The orchestra scrambled out through the service doors. Yet even in the chaos, Evelyn felt frozen in place. The man in the dark coat walked forward with the steady calm of someone who never needed to raise his voice to be obeyed. His presence alone parted the crowd like a blade. He wasn't running, he wasn't hiding, he was claiming. Adrian positioned himself in front of Evelyn before she even thought to step back. His shoulders squared, posture braced. She could feel the rage radiating from him, rage mixed with something else she couldn't name, something personal. Jenna tugged at Evelyn's arm. "We have to move, now." But Evelyn couldn't move, not when the man's face finally came into view as he stepped beneath the chandelier. Sharp cheekbones, a scar near the temple. Eyes like cold steel eyes she had seen in the mirror her entire life without realizing why. Her voice barely escaped. "That's him. Her father." He looked directly at her and smiled. A small, eerie smile that carried no warmth, no humanity, only claim. "Evelyn," he said, his voice unfiltered now, smooth and controlled. "At last." Bradley, who had finally broken free of security, staggered forward with a frantic expression. "Sir, I can fix this." She wasn't supposed to. Her father silenced him with a glance so lethal, Bradley physically recoiled. "You disappoint me," he said coldly. "You were given one task." "White." "Please," Bradley whispered, trembling. She filed for divorce early. I needed more time, she wasn't supposed to know." But the man turned from him as if brushing aside a fly. His gaze pinned Evelyn again. "Come with me." Adrian stepped forward. "She's not going anywhere with you." Her father's eyes flicked to him. "Still pretending you're her guardian, Adrian? Still clinging to promises made to a woman you couldn't save?" The words hit like a slap. Evelyn's breath vanished. "Save? Save my mother?" Her father smiled again. "Oh, he didn't tell you that part? He was there the night she ran. He promised to protect her. He failed. She died because of his mistakes." Adrian flinched, not visibly, but enough for Evelyn to feel the truth strike him. Her knees weakened. "Adrian?" Adrian's voice was low. "Your mother trusted me. I tried, God, Evelyn, I tried, but your father was always one step ahead." Her father's chuckle echoed through the ballroom. "Always. It's Brenda." He extended a hand to Evelyn, palm up, patient. "You have something I want. Something that belongs to me. Come, and no one else gets hurt." Jenna whispered urgently, "Evelyn, don't. He'll never let you go." The room shuddered with tension. Evelyn felt torn in every direction: fear, betrayal, confusion, rage. Her baby kicked hard, reminding her she wasn't just fighting for herself. Adrian reached for her hand protectively. "You're safe with me. I won't let him take you." "Important to." Her father's eyes darkened. "You presume too much." Without warning, he lifted a hand. Two men in black suits, hidden until now, emerged from the ballroom doors. Armed, trained, advancing. Guests screamed. Security scrambled. The elegant gala shattered into chaos once again. Evelyn grabbed Adrian's sleeve. "We have to go." Adrian nodded, eyes blazing. "This way." They bolted toward the side corridor, Jenna close behind. The chandeliers above trembled as panic surged. Behind them, her father's voice cut sharply through the noise. "Run if you wish, Evelyn, but you cannot outrun blood." They rounded a corner only to find two more men blocking the exit. Evelyn gasped. Adrian pulled her behind him, jaw tightening. "Then we fight our way out." The corridor behind the plaza's ballroom was narrow, lined with gilded sconces and velvet drapes, beautiful in daylight, menacing under emergency lights, pulsing red. Evelyn felt the walls closing in, her heartbeat thundering in her ears as two men in dark suits blocked the exit ahead. Adrian moved in front of her instantly. "Stay behind me," he murmured, voice steady but tense. Jenna pressed her back against the wall, shaking. "They're not here to negotiate. They want her." Evelyn swallowed hard. "Why? What does he think I'm carrying?" Jenna whispered. "Not carrying. Knowing." The men stepped closer. Miss Hartman, one of them said calmly, your father would like you to come with us. This doesn't have to get complicated. Adrian scoffed, cold and sharp. Complicated already happened. He grabbed Evelyn's hand, pulling her toward a service door to the left. But before they reached it, the second guard clicked his radio. She's moving. Southeast corridor. Evelyn's chest tightened. They were being tracked, surrounded. Adrian tried the service door, locked. Jenna tugged frantically. There's another way. Back through the kitchen. There's a staff elevator we can use. Adrian nodded sharply. Move. They raced back down the hall, Evelyn struggling to keep pace with her pregnancy, slowing her steps. Her breathing grew uneven, panic clawing up her throat. Are you okay? Adrian asked, glancing back. I'm fine, she lied, though her legs trembled. They burst into the grand kitchen, bright stainless steel, sizzling pans abandoned mid-meal, staff huddled in fear near the exits. The chef shouted something in French, pointing toward the freight elevator. Through there, Jenna said, pushing Evelyn forward. But before they reached it, the kitchen doors slammed open behind them. Bradley stumbled in, flushed, desperate, security finally losing grip on him. Evelyn, stop, he shouted, voice cracking. You don't understand, he'll kill us both if you run. Adrian turned with fire in his eyes. You made your bed, Bradley. Bradley advanced anyway, chest heaving. Evelyn, listen to me. I never wanted to be part of this. He blackmailed me. He threatened my family. I didn't have a choice. Evelyn's voice shook. But you had a choice when you framed me, when you drained the accounts, when you lied to me. Bradley's face collapsed. I was trying to protect myself. I thought if I gave him what he wanted, he'd leave me alone. Adrian stepped forward. And what exactly does he want? Bradley's eyes slid to Evelyn's stomach, hesitating just long enough to make her skin crawl. Her, he whispered. Her, and the access codes her mother buried. She's the only one who can open them. Evelyn felt cold all over. Stop talking in riddles. What codes? Bradley swallowed. The estate wasn't money. It was information. Evidence your mother stole from him, evidence that could end him. She hid it inside a digital vault only you can unlock. And, no stem. Evelyn staggered. Why me? Because, Bradley rasped, your mother tied the vault to your DNA. The kitchen fell silent. Even Adrian froze. My DNA? Yes, Bradley said, frantic. She embedded the failsafe in you before she died. That's why he's been searching. That's why he wants you alive. Jenna gasped. Oh God. Adrian shoved Bradley back. You're coming with us. You're telling the authorities everything. But before he could move, the freight elevator dinged. Everyone turned. Inside stood one of her father's guards alone, calm, confident. He lifted a phone and held it out toward Evelyn. Your father would like to speak to you privately. Evelyn backed up in terror. No, I'm not. The guard stepped out of the elevator and placed the phone on a counter. A single sentence glowed on the screen. Come alone, or Adrian dies. Evelyn's breath shattered. No. Adrian started. But Evelyn already knew. She would have to choose. Evelyn felt time stop her heart, her breath, the frantic noise of the bustling kitchen, all suspended in one horrifying moment. The phone sat glowing on the stainless steel counter, cold and threatening. Come alone, or Adrian dies. Her father's command. Her father, the man whose blood she carried, but whose shadow now threatened to swallow her whole. No, Adrian said firmly, stepping toward her. You will not go anywhere alone. He's trying to corner you. It's a bestres, but tassive say. He'll kill you if I don't, Evelyn whispered, her voice barely holding together. He won't touch me, Adrian insisted. He needs me alive. He knows I'm the only one who can help you unlock what your mother hid. Bradley scoffed bitterly. He doesn't need you. He just needs leverage, and you're the easiest leverage in this room. Adrian snapped, Shut up, Bradley. But Evelyn stepped between them. Enough, all of you. Her voice trembled but didn't break. This isn't about codes or leverage or secrets. This is about survival. He wants me, and he'll destroy anyone in his way. Jenna grabbed her arm desperately. Evelyn, you can't go. He's not a father, he's a predator. People who know him disappear. And people who stand between him and what he wants disappear faster, Evelyn replied softly. Her hand moved protectively over her belly. This isn't just my life anymore. Adrian's eyes softened in anguish. Evelyn, your mother trusted me. I won't let him take you. I failed her once. I will not fail again. That sentence split her open. What happened the night she died? Evelyn asked quietly. Adrian froze. Tell me. Tears blurred her vision. Tell me the truth. Adrian exhaled, voice breaking at the edges. Your mother called me hours before the crash. She said she finally had enough evidence to expose him. She was terrified but determined. I told her to meet me so I could get her out of New York. Dagon of the Siver. Why didn't you? Evelyn demanded. I got there too late, he whispered. Her car was already burning. Silence. Heavy. Devastating. Evelyn covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. Jenna steadying her gently. She tried to save you, Evelyn. She died for you. Evelyn's shoulders shook, but beneath the grief was something sharper resolve. She stepped toward the phone. What are you doing? Adrian's voice cracked. She met his eyes, tears shining but steady. I'm ending this. Not for him. For my child. If he wants me, then I'll choose the terms. No. Adrian grabbed her wrist. He will hurt you. I'm not walking into a trap blind, she whispered. I'm walking with the only advantage I have, my mother's blood and the truth he's terrified of. Bradley spoke up from the corner, trembling. If you go, he won't let you out again. Evelyn turned to him. You made your choices, Bradley. Now I'm making mine. Then she picked up the phone. The screen lit up instantly. Her father's voice filled the kitchen. Calm, cold, victorious. Good girl. Evelyn swallowed her fear. I'll come. But only if you release everyone else. No more threats, no more games. Her father chuckled. You're in no position to negotiate, but if you want the boy to live, that boy, Evelyn cut in sharply, is the only man in my life who's protected me without wanting something in return. The silence on the line turned dangerous, but Evelyn didn't back down. Tell me where to meet you, she said. He answered without hesitation. Penthouse, 10 minutes. Her blood ran cold. Back to the place where everything began. She ended the call and turned to the others. Adrian grabbed her shoulders. Evelyn, you go there and he wins. No, she whispered, placing her hand over her stomach. I go there, and this ends. The freight elevator doors opened behind her with a metallic groan waiting. Evelyn stepped toward it. Adrian reached for her one last time. Evelyn, please don't do this alone. She looked back at him, eyes steady despite the fear. I have to. If I don't walk into that penthouse, none of us walk out of this alive. The elevator rose toward the top floor with the slow, dreadful certainty of a closing trap. Evelyn stood alone inside, her hand resting over her stomach, breathing through each tremor inside her chest. The walls of the elevator felt too tight, too reflective, showing her a woman she barely recognized anymore. A woman cornered, a woman hunted, a woman who had no choice left except to walk straight into the fire. When the doors slid open, the penthouse greeted her with a cold, pristine silence. The same marble floors she once cherished now felt like a stage prepared for her undoing. Her father stood by the window wall, framed by the glittering Manhattan skyline. That same eerie calm radiated from him, controlled confidence, the type of man who never feared consequences because he never allowed them to exist. You came, he said softly, as if she were a child who had finally obeyed. Evelyn kept her distance. You threatened someone I care about. He smiled, turning slightly. Attachment is a weakness. I hoped you inherited more of my instincts, but your mother's softness clung to you. The mention of her mother twisted something sharp inside her. What do you want? She forced out. He reached into his coat and placed a small metal device on the table, a portable biometric scanner. You know what I want, he said. Your DNA. A simple scan. Once your identity is authenticated, the digital vault will unlock, and everything your mother stole will be returned. Evelyn swallowed hard. She didn't steal anything. She escaped. His jaw tightened. Your mother, he said coldly, ran with evidence that could have destroyed everything I built. She thought she could hide behind Adrian. She thought loyalty would save her. Pain punched Evelyn's lungs. You killed her, she whispered. His silence was the answer. Her breath shattered, but she steadied herself. You will not touch my child, and you won't get anything from me. His eyes hardened. I don't need you willingly. I can. He stepped closer, reaching for her arm. But Evelyn backed away sharply. Don't touch me. I gave you life, he said. You exist because of me. No, she breathed. I exist because my mother ran from you. Before he could react, the elevator dinged behind her. Evelyn spun. The doors opened. Adrian stepped out, breathing hard, eyes raging with Rowan behind him and 2 plaza security officers flanking them, weapons drawn. "Step away from her," Adrian growled. Her father chuckled. "You never learned your place." Adrian's voice was ice. "My place is anywhere she needs protection. You failed her mother. You will fail her too," the man said coldly. Evelyn saw the pain strike Adrian, but he held his stance. Rowan stepped beside him. "Backup is 5 minutes out. NYPD knows everything." For the first time, Evelyn saw something flicker in her father's expression. Annoyance. Calculation. And the first crack in his certainty. "You think you can trap me?" he asked. "No," Adrian said. "We already have." With a small remote in his hand, Rowan hit a button. A soft click echoed around the room. Then screens lit up along the walls, one by one. Every word her father had said. Every threat. Every admission. Broadcast live. To the gala below, to the building security, to NYPD, to the world. Her father slowly turned back toward Evelyn, his eyes burning with cold fury. "You think this changes anything?" he hissed. "You think I won't still win?" Evelyn stepped forward, her voice finally steady. "You already lost." Her father's jaw clenched. His eyes flicked to the biometric scanner, then to her stomach. He reached inside his coat. Adrian shouted, "Evelyn, move!" But the moment was already breaking open. As her father pulled something metallic from his jacket, the metallic object glinted under the penthouse lights as her father pulled it from his jacket. For a split second, Evelyn's heart stopped until the shape registered. Not a gun. A data drive. Small, black, dangerous in a different way. He held it up like a weapon anyway. "This," he said, voice low with fury, "contains the last backup of what your mother stole. Without your DNA, it's worthless. But in the right hands," Adrian cut him off. "No one hears the right hands." Her father's eyes blazed. "You still think you can win against me?" Rowan stepped forward, voice steady. The live stream already hit the Manhattan news cycles. By now, the FBI, IRS, and half of Wall Street have alerts flooding their phones. "You're done." Her father laughed, a chilling, humorless sound. "You children don't understand power. Exposure means nothing. Men like me don't fall from the outside. We fall from betrayal." Then his gaze snapped to Evelyn, sharp, violent, hateful. "And you betrayed me the moment you refused to come." "Dan?" Evelyn stepped back instinctively, her baby kicking hard beneath her ribs. Adrian moved to block her again, but her father suddenly hurled the data drive across the room. It hit a column and shattered into a spray of sparks. "No!" Rowan shouted. "The only complete backup. Destroyed." Evelyn gasped. "Why would you destroy your own leverage?" Her father snarled. "Because if I can't have it, no one can." He lunged. Adrian reacted first, shoving Evelyn behind the marble island just as her father charged at them with shocking speed. Rowan and the plaza guards tackled him from the side, slamming him against the table, but the man fought like an animal cornered for the first time in his life. "You will not take her from me," he roared, straining against the hold. "She was never yours," Evelyn shouted back. Her father twisted violently, breaking free for a moment long enough to shove Rowan so hard he crashed into the wall. Evelyn screamed as he lunged toward her again, but Adrian intercepted him, the 2 men colliding like colliding storms. "You killed her mother," Adrian shouted, voice cracking for the first time. "You destroyed everything she had." Her father slammed Adrian into the edge of the counter, relentless. "She made the choice to run. Just like this one is making the choice to fight me." Adrian wiped blood from his mouth, panting. "She chose freedom. She chose delusion," her father hissed. They collided again, and this time the impact sent both crashing across the table. Evelyn stumbled backward, hands shaking uncontrollably. Her breath grew shallow, panic threatening to consume her. "Stop," she screamed. "Please, stop." But her father didn't stop. He shoved Adrian to the ground and seized Evelyn's arm with a bruising grip, dragging her toward the biometric scanner. "You're going to open it," he growled. "Now." "Let her go," Adrian choked out, struggling to get up. "Don't touch me." Evelyn fought wildly. Fear surged through her chest as her father forced her hand closer to the scanner. "You can't make me do this." "Oh, I can," he whispered. His fingers clamped around her wrist. until suddenly, a deafening crash shook the entire penthouse. Glass exploded. Wind roared. Shards flew across the marble floor. Her father stumbled back in shock, losing his grip. The balcony doors had shattered inward, and through the swirl of broken glass, floodlights burst into the room. Voices shouted. Boots thundered. Federal agents on the ground now. Evelyn gasped, falling to her knees as her father froze in disbelief. Adrian pulled her behind him instantly. FBI agents stormed the penthouse from both sides, weapons raised, shouting commands. Her father lifted his hands slowly, hatred burning in his eyes. "This isn't over," he snarled at Evelyn. But for the first time, he wasn't the one in control. Two agents pinned him to the floor, wrenching his arms behind his back as he screamed in rage. Evelyn's breath shook violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. Adrian wrapped his arm around her, trembling with adrenaline. "It's over. He can't touch you anymore." But Evelyn shook her head, voice breaking. "No, something's wrong." Adrian frowned. "What? Evelyn, what's happening?" Evelyn pressed a hand to her stomach pain, seizing her sharply, deeper and more urgent than fear. Her voice came out as a gasp. "Adrian, the baby, something's wrong." Pain ripped through Evelyn's abdomen like a bolt of lightning. Sharp, sudden, wrong. She clutched her stomach with both hands, gasping for air as the penthouse faded into a blur. The shattered glass, the echo of her father's arrest, the hurried voices of agents, everything dissolved beneath the overwhelming panic flooding her body. "Evelyn!" Adrian caught her before she collapsed, lowering her gently to the marble floor. "Stay with me. Look at me." I can't." Her voice splintered as another wave of pain rolled through her. "Adrian, something's wrong. It's too soon." "It's Mal." An agent called out, "We need medics now." But Evelyn's vision was already tunneling. She tried to breathe. In, out. But fear twisted around her lungs like a fist. Adrian pressed a hand to her cheek. "Hey, stay with me. Evelyn, look at me. Breathe. Just breathe." Tears slid down her temples. "The baby, please, Adrian, don't let anything happen." Her voice broke into a sob that tore through him. "You and your child are safe," he whispered fiercely, even though fear trembled in his own eyes. "I won't let anything take either of you." Two FBI medics rushed in with a stretcher, kneeling beside them. "She's 30 weeks, Adrian said. "The stress she's been under too much." The medic checked her pulse, her breathing, her trembling abdomen. "She's contracting. We need to move her now." Evelyn shook her head, gripping Adrian's shirt. "Don't leave me, bros." "I'm not going anywhere," he promised, kissing her forehead without thinking. "You're safe." As they lifted her onto the stretcher, Bradley, still handcuffed near the elevator, watched with wide, horrified eyes. "Evelyn," he whispered, "I'm sorry. I never meant for—" "Don't speak to her," Adrian snapped, his voice a weapon. Her father, pinned to the ground by two agents, bared his teeth in fury. "She's doing this to manipulate you." "Shut him up," an agent ordered. The elevator doors opened, and the medics rushed her inside. Adrian stepped in immediately, taking her hand. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know, but I've got you." The elevator shot downward. Evelyn squeezed his hand with a strength born from pure desperation. Her breaths came unevenly. "My mom, she fought for me. I can't lose this baby, Adrian. I can't." "You won't," he said, voice thick. "I swear to you, Evelyn, you won't." End quote. The doors opened to a loading bay, where an ambulance waited with lights flashing. Cold night air swept over her as she was wheeled inside. The city lights blurred through her tears. Inside the ambulance, the medic strapped monitors across her belly. A rhythmic beeping filled the space. A heartbeat, her baby's heartbeat. Strong, fast, alive. Evelyn sobbed in relief. Adrian's shoulders dropped, tension melting just slightly until the medic added, "We need to keep her stable. If the contractions progress, we may have to intervene." "Intervene?" Evelyn whispered. "What does that mean?" The medic hesitated. "An emergency delivery." Her blood ran cold. "Too early," she cried. "It's too early." "We're going to try to stop the labor," the medic said. "But stress can trigger complications." Stress, fear, months of being hunted, her body finally breaking under the weight. Adrian brushed her tears away. "Listen to me. You're the strongest person I've ever known. You survived him. You survived everything he tried to do to you. And you're going to survive this too. She clung to his hand as the ambulance sped through Manhattan, sirens slicing through the night. Her voice was barely a breath. Don't leave. I'm not leaving. Not now. Not ever. But as the ambulance turned sharply, another jolt of pain shot through her abdomen, much stronger this time. The machine beeped erratically. The medic's expression shifted. Her contractions are accelerating, he barked. Prep to stabilize. Evelyn cried out, arching off the stretcher as the pain tore through her. Adrian's heart dropped. Evelyn, stay with me. She gasped a sound full of fear and surrender. And then her body went limp. We're losing her, the medic shouted. Everything sounded far away. The sirens. The medic shouting. Adrian's voice, calling her name like a prayer he was trying to drag into the light. Evelyn drifted between consciousness and darkness, suspended in a space where time didn't move. Her body felt weightless, almost detached, as if she were floating above herself. She wanted to wake up, to fight, but the pain had hollowed her out, leaving shadows where strength used to be. Adrian leaned over her, shaking, gripping her hand like he feared she'd slip through his fingers if he blinked. Evelyn, please, stay with me. Don't you dare leave me. The medic pressed a mask to her face. She's crashing, blood pressure dropping, get fluids in now. Her vision flickered. She saw lights stroking across the ambulance ceiling. She saw Adrian's face blur, then sharpen, then blur again. She tried to speak his name, but her lips wouldn't move. Then suddenly she was somewhere else. A quiet room, soft sunlight, a scent she hadn't felt in years. Her mother. Evelyn turned, breath catching. Her mother stood near a window, wearing the same sweater she wore the morning of her last memory with Evelyn. Her eyes warm, steady, full of the love Evelyn had been starved for, rested on her gently. Mom, Evelyn whispered, Am I dying? Her mother stepped closer, brushing a tear from Evelyn's cheek. Not yet, my love. I'm scared, Evelyn whispered, voice breaking. I can't lose the baby. I can't lose Adrian. I've already lost so much. Her mother smiled sadly. You are stronger than you know. You were born fighting, and your child has your strength. Why did you leave? Evelyn cried. Why did you run? Why didn't you tell me the truth? Because the truth would have stolen your childhood, her mother said softly. I wanted to protect you from the darkness that hunted me, and now it hunts you. Evelyn shook her head. I don't want his blood. I don't want anything from him. And you don't have to accept it, her mother said. Blood doesn't define you. Choice does. Evelyn's vision blurred again. Voices pulled her from the dream. She's stabilizing, keep oxygen high. Her mother's voice dimmed. You must wake up, Evelyn. Your baby needs you. Adrian needs you. And the world needs the truth. Only you can unlock. Tears rolled down Evelyn's cheeks. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Her mother cupped her face. Yes, you are. You survived him. You survived everything he built to destroy you. Now you must finish what I began. The dream dissolved as the ambulance jolted to a stop. Evelyn gasped back into the real world, eyes flying open. Adrian let out a sound between a sob and a breath. Evelyn, thank God, stay with me. She tried to speak, but only managed a whisper. The baby. The medic jumped in. Heartbeat is strong, but we're not out of danger. We need to get you inside now. The hospital doors slid open as they rushed her out. Nurses took over, wheeling her toward labor and delivery. Adrian ran beside the gurney, refusing to let go of her hand. You're going to be okay, he kept saying, both of you. Evelyn looked at him, really looked, and something grounded deep inside her. He wasn't just protecting her. He cared. In a way she didn't think anyone ever could again. As the doors to the operating area swung closed, Evelyn whispered, Adrian, if anything happens, nothing will happen, he said fiercely. I'm right here. I'm not leaving. But just as the nurses pushed her inside, a hospital security guard sprinted down the hall. Sir, agents need you upstairs now. There's been a breach. Adrian froze. A breach? He echoed. The guard nodded. Someone broke into the evidence room. Your father isn't the only one we have to worry about. Evelyn's blood ran cold. Her father had allies. Still out there. Still hunting. And one of them was already inside the hospital. Chaos erupted inside the hospital as Adrian was pulled toward the elevators by two agents. The guard repeated the words that hit him like a blade. Someone broke into the evidence room. Adrian looked back at Evelyn, weak, pale, trembling on the gurney as nurses rushed her toward the maternity ward. She reached out for him, terrified. "Go," she whispered, tears streaking down her cheeks. "Please, go." He hesitated for only a heartbeat. Then he kissed her forehead. "I'm coming back," he promised. "You're not doing this alone." And he ran. The hospital hallways pulsed with flashing lights and alarms. Agents swarmed the upper floors as Adrian and Rowan reached the evidence room. The door had been forced open. 2 agents lay unconscious on the floor. But the room wasn't empty. Bradley Vaughn was inside, blood dripping from a fresh cut across his forehead, hands shaking, eyes darting with the frantic desperation of a man who had finally lost everything. Adrian's jaw tightened. "Bradley, what did you do?" Bradley spun around, holding a metal lockbox, one the FBI had taken from the penthouse. "I have nothing left," he choked. "Nothing. Your people froze my accounts. The press destroyed my name, and she ruined me." Rowan stepped closer. "Put the box down." Bradley shook his head violently. "You don't get it. Roth, he had people everywhere. He told me if he ever fell, I'd have to finish his plan. Make sure Evelyn opened the vault." Adrian's voice hardened. "That vault no longer exists. He destroyed the last backup." Bradley's breath hitched. "No, it exists. Roth made one last copy, and it's in this box." Adrian froze. Bradley screamed, "If I can't save myself, I'll sell it to someone who can." He rushed toward the stairwell, only for Rowan to tackle him. The lockbox flew from Bradley's hands, skidding across the floor. Bradley lunged after it. Agents swarmed. A struggle, a shout, a crack like bone hitting tile. Bradley collapsed. The lockbox broke open. Documents spilled across the floor, and Adrian saw the truth. They weren't coded files. They were letters, journal entries, photos, all from Evelyn's mother. Not evidence against her father. Evidence protecting her from him. Bradley stared at them, dazed. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." But Adrian didn't hear the rest. He was already running back to her, down the halls, past agents, past nurses, past fear. Because Evelyn was fighting for 2 lives. When he burst into the maternity ward, a nurse moved to block him until she saw the desperation in his eyes. "She's stable," the nurse whispered. "We managed to stop labor. She's asking for you." He pushed into the room. Evelyn lay against white pillows, exhausted, eyes puffy from crying but alive. Beautifully, painfully alive. Her hand lifted weakly. He took it instantly. "You came back," she whispered. "Nothing could have stopped me." Tears slid down her cheeks. "Is it over?" Adrian nodded. "Your father's in federal custody. His network is dismantled. And Bradley, he won't hurt you again. Ever." Relief toppled through her in a sob. Adrian cupped her face, brushing tears with his thumb. "You're safe, Evelyn. Truly safe." She leaned into his palm. "Thank you for keeping your promise to my mother." He swallowed hard. "I didn't just do it for her. I did it because I care for you." She stared at him, really stared, seeing everything he'd carried for years. And for the first time in her life, she felt chosen. Not used. Not hunted. Loved. She whispered, "I care for you too." He bowed his forehead against hers, breath trembling. Outside the room, the sun began to rise, soft gold spilling across the hospital floor like the world itself was exhaling. Evelyn placed her hand over her belly, smiling through tears. "We're safe," she whispered to her child. "We're finally safe." Adrian kissed her forehead gently. "You have a future now," he said softly. "And I would be honored if you'd let me be part of it." Evelyn closed her eyes, letting the warmth of his words settle deep. For the first time, the future didn't frighten her. It felt possible, bright, real. And for the first time in years, she felt free. So, that's how the story closes, my wonderful friends. And if you're still here with me right now, listening to these final words, then something in Evelyn's journey must have touched your heart in a quiet, personal way. Maybe it reminded you of a storm you survived. Maybe it reminded you of a strength you forgot you had. You know, the Stoics used to say, "What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's exactly what Evelyn teaches us. that sometimes life doesn't break us to punish us, it breaks us to rebuild us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Evelyn couldn't control betrayal, fear, or danger, but she controlled her courage, and courage became her turning point. In your own life, you might be carrying a pain no one sees, but please remember, healing doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in every small choice to rise again, to protect your peace, to choose the life you deserve. If this story spoke to you, even just a little, please like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to our channel so you never walk these emotional journeys alone. We're in this together. Always.